Hello and a very good morning to all our viewers. You're watching the morning news show here on CNN News 18. I'm Sakshi Singh Litoria, here to walk you through all the latest developments from across the globe for the next half an hour. Starting off with some big breaking news coming in from the state of Tamil Nadu. Now, ED officials have arrested Tamil Nadu Minister Senthil Balaji in money laundering case. Now, Tamil Nadu Minister breaks down while being taken in custody by the ED. The arrest follows an 18-hour questioning at the minister's home in Chennai. Enforcement Directorate had held searches at Senthil Balaji's official chamber in the State Secretariat and bungalow in Chennai and other places linked to him in Karur and Coimbatore. Tamil Nadu CM has called it an attack on federal structure. So indeed, a big breaking news coming in from the state of Tamil Nadu, where ED officials... Okay, I have CNN News 18's Purnima Murli joining me on the phone line. Purnima, very good morning to you. Could you give us more details about that arrest?
Well, at around 2 a.m., we saw ED officials' car leaving the premises along with Minister. Sources from the ED department say that while they were planning to take Senthil Balaji to the office for further investigation post the arrest, the minister had reportedly complained of chest pain and was taken to Omandurar government hospital. And currently he's been undergoing treatment, but sources confirm that he's been arrested. And this took place nearly 20 hours after the raids began. Remember, at around 8 a.m. yesterday, the raids began at the official residence of the minister in Chennai. And at around 2:30 p.m., raids began at the secretariat at the minister's office chamber. And the raids continued till about 2 a.m. And after that, after 20 hours of raids, the raids ended where he was all set to be taken to the office for further interrogation, but was rushed to government hospital after he complained of chest pain. At the moment, as we speak, Senthil Balaji is undergoing treatment at Omandurar government hospital.
Well, Purnima, what do we know about that 18-hour long investigation that took place in this particular case?
Well, this case dates back to 2014 when Senthil Balaji was the transport minister during the ADMK government. What we are given to understand is that the entire raids were in context of the job scam. Remember, the job scam alleges that the minister had in fact taken money from people promising government jobs in the transport department, and this also was raked up by the BJP. Remember, the Supreme Court heard the same case and had also asked for a thorough probe to be conducted in this case. So this comes exactly after the Supreme Court had asked for a fresh probe in the case. Meanwhile, the BJP had also met with Governor Anand Ravi and demanded the resignation of Senthil Balaji to ensure that a thorough probe be conducted. Until the time the probe is conducted, the minister should resign is the petition that was submitted by the BJP before the governor in this context. So this is related to the 2014 job scam where the minister was allegedly collecting bribe to offer government jobs. That was the allegation made, and that was in fact being interrogated or investigated by the ED from 8 a.m. yesterday with Senthil Balaji. Remember, Senthil Balaji was also present at the residence when the raids were underway. He was also questioned and he was also interrogated. And after nearly 18 to 20 hours of investigation and interrogation, he was arrested. The minister was arrested.
Well, Purnima, very expectedly, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, M.K. Stalin, has attacked it and said that it is an attack on federal structure. What do we know about that, the word coming in from M.K. Stalin himself?
Well, M.K. Stalin's statement said that it doesn't matter who is being raided, it matters where it's being raided. And remember, the secretariat was raided, and that, in fact, did not go down well with the DMK. The DMK questioned the move by the agencies to enter the secretariat and conduct raids and said that this is an attack on cooperative federalism, and that in fact was also being supported by other opposition parties in in the country, including we've seen the Congress, Mamata Banerjee, Arvind Kejriwal, all of them coming out in support, saying that how can the agencies enter the secretariat and conduct raids, and that is against cooperative federalism, and that is something that Chief Minister had highlighted. And late last evening also thanked all the opposition parties who had come out in support of the DMK in its fight against these agencies entering the secretariat. And also in the statement, Chief Minister said that these raids will not silence the opposition and that they are not threatened. These are all politically motivated. Raids, and these are and conducting raids at the secretariat is an attack on cooperative federalism, and we will not allow this to happen. And also alleged that the BJP is using these agencies to silence and threaten the opposition parties, and the BJP and the BJP is doing this, but it is not going to work in Tamil Nadu. The DMK is not scared of these raids, is a statement that came in from Chief Minister last evening. And later last night, thanked other parties for coming out in support for the raids that took place at the Secretariat.
Well, Purnima, as we are showing our viewers in the visuals as well, that Senthil Balaji sort of broke down also, and now as you told us that he has been taken to the hospital as well. What lies next for him?
Well, they will have to take the legal course possible. Remember, yesterday when the raids were going on, all the senior leaders of the DMK also came out in support. This was senior leader R.S. Bharati outside the residence of Senthil Balaji, saying that these are politically motivated raids, and said that the timing of this comes exactly 2 days after Amit Shah had visited the capital city, and they also questioned the timing. And interestingly, the DMK has come out in support of Senthil Balaji since yesterday and called these politically motivated. Now that the arrest has finally been made, the DMK will now take the legal route possible and try to ensure that...
Purnima, I request you to please hold on. I have reactions coming in from DMK side. Let's listen in.
No, next course of action will be decided only by the high-level command of the party, sir. Now it is absolutely, what is happening is absolutely illegal, unlawful, is unconstitutional. It is only to harass the party and the image of our leader, Mr. M.K. Stalin, in order to fetch unlawful gain by the Modi government in course of forthcoming parliamentary election. All this has been happening. So it is only intention is to harass.
Purnima, coming back to you, as we heard DMK MLA saying that it is unlawful, it is illegal, and the only intention for these raids was sort of to harass Senthil Balaji. What do you have to say about that?
So this is something that the DMK has been saying ever since Senthil Balaji was raided by IT. Remember, it was the IT raid first, which went on for about a week. Even then, the DMK called it politically motivated raid. And now with the ED probing the case that dates back to 2014, once again DMK says that these arrests are only unlawful, and that the ED does not even have evidence to prove anything against the minister, and the arrest is unlawful, and says that they will soon decide on the next course of action. Of course, the legal route is something that the DMK will start working on. But from day one, they've been saying that these raids are politically motivated and that the BJP is using the agencies to conduct the raids. However, right now with the arrest, DMK calls it unlawful and says that it's a way to harass and threaten the DMK, but the DMK is not scared because of these arrests. They will look at the next course of action legally, as well as the party's decision will be taken today on what they plan to do next. We'll have to wait for an official statement that comes in from the Chief Minister in a short while from now.
Well, Purnima, talking about these multi-city searches, DMK strongman from Karur, we are hearing that he said that he was not aware of the officials that they will be coming for the searching at his premises, and they sort of assured an extended total cooperation in this particular probe. What do we know about the information, the prior information given to the electricity minister and other leaders who were raided by the ED in the different cities?
Well, with regard to the IT raids also, we've seen how the IT officials were stopped by the DMK father when they tried to enter the residence of Senthil Balaji's brother. And in fact, in that particular incident, IT officials were attacked. The car was also damaged, and they also filed a complaint with the police. And then they brought in, and then they sought police protection to go ahead and conduct the raids. So this happened during the IT raid. Even then, Senthil Balaji had said that they were not aware of the raids, and the IT department had come and they knocked the door even before they could open. They tried to climb the door and enter, and that's why the DNK father got angry, and they tried to stop these IT officials from doing so. That was when the IT raid happened. This time also, interestingly, when the ED officials had gone to the residence, the Chennai residence, what we know is that Senthil Balaji was out on a walk, and when he was coming back, he came to know that the ED officials are inside his residence, and he also spoke to the media before entering his residence that he will fully cooperate with the agency, and there is nothing to hide. He's not corrupt, and there are no charges against him, and there's nothing for anyone to prove. He also spoke about how in IT raids there was no outcome. So similarly, he said that he is an honest minister, and there's nothing otherwise for the agencies to prove, and therefore he will fully cooperate with the agencies. This is something that Senthil Balaji had said before he entered his residence, because he wasn't aware that the ED officials were raiding his house. He was out for a regular walk. When he was on his way back, seeing the media presence, he came to know about it, is what Senthil Balaji told the media before he entered his residence.
Well, Purnima, just for our viewers, I would like to read out the news again for them that Enforcement Directorate ED officials arrested Excise and Electricity Minister V. Senthil Balaji earlier today after raids at his residence in his office in the State Secretariat. He was then taken to the hospital for medical checkup as he complained about that chest pain, and we are showing the visuals to our viewers as well that he broke down during the time of arrest. Purnima, coming back to you, just for the better perspective of our viewers, could you please elaborate all the allegations against him, also the turn of events?
Well, with regard to the ED race, it is related to a job scam in 2014 when Senthil Balaji was with the ADMK and with the Transport Minister. Yesterday at around 8 a.m., ED officials entered the residence of the minister. This was the official residence in Vidived Road. They entered the official residence. Since then, raids began. At around 2:15 p.m., another team was sent to the secretariat to raid the chamber of the minister. And this continued till late last night. And after nearly 18 to 19 hours of the raid...
Purnima, I would request you to please hold on. I have political analyst Sumant C. Raman joining me on the broadcast. A very good morning to you, sir. Sir, ED officials have now arrested Tamil Nadu's Minister Senthil Balaji in money laundering case. What would be your reaction?
I think this was sort of building up. There have been raids, income tax raids earlier on very close associates of the minister, including his brother and so on. So subsequently, once the ED got involved, this case dates back quite a few years, about 7-8 years ago, when he was a minister in the AIADMK government. And quite recently, also the Honorable Supreme Court had given a permission for the investigation to continue and had said that the investigation must be completed expeditiously. So I think that this was building up. Many of the charges in this case were raised against the minister by the DMK when he was then with the AIADMK. So I think it's going to be a little embarrassing for the DMK to try to claim that he is being victimized, because Mr. Stalin was the one who led the charges, laid the charges against this minister when he was in the AIADMK, and Mr. Stalin was the leader of the opposition.
Well, Sumanji, very expectedly, DMK called it unlawful, illegal, and said that it's sort of done for the harassment of the minister. What would you say about that?
I don't think that the people are going to buy that. Yeah, look, very simple. Mr. Senthil Balaji joined the DMK hardly 4-5 years ago, and instantly he was made the district secretary. Subsequently, once the DMK came to power in 21, he was given two of the weightiest or meatiest portfolios of electricity and the TASMAC or the liquor stores of the state. So that itself, in fact, many of the DMK leaders themselves were very, very upset when that happened because they had been with the party for 30-40 years. So this itself led to a lot of queries being raised. So today, I'm not too sure that many of the cabinet colleagues of Mr. Senthil Balaji will not be actually quite pleased that at the turn of events. Though obviously they will not admit it and they will defend him to the hilt in public. In private, many of them may be quite maybe chuckling away, saying that this was long overdue.
Well, Sumanji, I would request you to hold on. I have BJP's SG Surya joining me on the phone line as well. A very good morning to you, sir. Sir, expectedly DMK is calling it an attack on federal structure of the country and calling it unlawful, illegal. What do you have to say about that?
I think they should go to the Supreme Court and ask why they have restored the continuation of the probe into the PMLA Act case that was filed against Mr. Senthil Balaji by the Enforcement Directorate. So the ED is doing it because the Supreme Court has directed to do it in the March of this year. This is nothing to do with vendetta. It is very clear-cut scam. He has taken money from several people to the tune of several crores, promising them government jobs. It has been clearly established in all the investigations. Now he says, I will give back all the money that I got as corruption. Please now release me. That is the argument that Mr. Senthil Balaji is keeping. Do you want the law to be flexible to certain people? The law is taking its own course. Whether he has taken money, it has been established. If he has taken money, what is the law saying? What is the PMLA Act saying? The case is nearing its logical conclusion, and with all this drama, I don't think they can escape the shackles of law. They should face the law. That is the clear thing. If the Supreme Court has relieved, I don't think this would have happened. But when the Supreme Court has said the criminal case against Senthil Balaji has to be reopened, the ED should continue its investigation. The state government is not cooperating. They have not appointed an investigating officer in spite of the Supreme Court ordering it to do in the month of March. So for the last 3 months, the state government is misusing its power to protect Senthil Balaji. They think the ED also should keep quiet. I'm sorry. I don't understand with what logic all these parties are calling it as vendetta. They should go to the Supreme Court and ask why did the court order the ED to reopen the case against Senthil Balaji instead of talking all this nonsense.
Well, sir, the war of words was expected as usual, but Tamil Nadu Law Minister sort of said that he was tortured for 24 hours, and then there is one more DMK leader from Karur who said that he had no prior information about officials coming to his place for the raids. What do you have to say about that?
See, raids are meant to happen extempore. If the raids are to be pre-informed, I don't think anybody will be caught in any raid. It is a free pass. Secondly, there were income tax raids very recently. So it was anyway expected the ED would step in. Even if the ED step in, what proof are they accusing with the inhuman behavior or torture? These are all usual political gimmicks which these politicians used to tell. There is absolutely not a single evidence of any torture, any ill treatment. We all know how the ED raids happen. It is with absolute cooperation, with absolute mutual respect. No sense of torture. Now they caught red hand. They are giving all these politically colored statements. Beyond that, their arguments hold no value, madam. The ED is doing its job as directed by the Supreme Court. Not the government, not the Home Ministry, not the Finance Ministry, nobody. Supreme Court has directed the ED to continue its probe. And remember, this is with regards to the 2015 scam that Mr. Senthil Balaji had done. if we talk about the recent scams and corruption he has involved in, it is a huge task which will wait for another day. Now, whatever is happening is for the 2015 scam. In fact, the same scam was quoted by the current chief minister in various public meetings before Senthil Balaji joined DMK. Now, just because he has joined DMK, are they going to eat their own words in which they called for arrest of Senthil Balaji, conviction of Senthil Balaji and etc.? We have video evidences of Mr. MP Stalin asking the CBI, asking the ED to take action against Senthil Balaji for the same scam. Now it is being taken. I think Mr. Stalin should be happy that his words are being implemented by the Enforcement Directorate without playing petty politics.
Well, thank you so much, sir, for talking to CNN News 18 and sharing your views with us. It's time for a short commercial break, but don't go anywhere as we'll come right back with more news and updates on the other side.
Palestine. Before that, it had asked the platform to take down more than 250 accounts. The public spat with Twitter at that time. Much of it is recorded. During 2021, saw the Modi government seeking an emergency blocking of the provocative Twitter hashtag Modi planning farmer genocide and dozens of accounts. Twitter had initially complied with some of the government requests, but later it cited insufficient justification. And in subsequent weeks, there were multiple raids by the Delhi police of the Twitter offices. What has Jack Dorsey said today, which you are so offended by, which did not happen back in 2021? Either the request to take down tweets or the raids.
Well, Zaka, we are not offended at all. In fact, we are amused at the lie that Dorsey came out with. And let's not forget, Dorsey spoke about not just India, but he also spoke about several other countries, including the United States, his home country. We all know that Twitter under Dorsey was a partisan platform. Their role in the American presidential election has now been chronicled in great detail. The platform was systematically targeting Republican voices, so much so that they deplatformed Donald Trump in the middle of the election when he was still the sitting president of the United States. On the other hand, you had the same platform censoring New York Post's article on Biden-Hunter and the New York Times article on Donald Trump, which put out personal details of his tax filings, was made public on this platform, which incidentally is a violation of the US federal laws. Now, this is the track record of Twitter as far as America goes, and even in India, there have been instances where the platform has muzzled expression. It has shadow banned voices that are ideologically not aligned to the core team of Twitter. They've also gone on to the extent of promoting voices that were secessionist in their tone and tenor. And they have done all of this, including Dorsey, who held out a poster called Smash Brahminical Patriarchy, which was essentially an attempt to wade into India's social fault lines. So Dorsey himself is guilty of doing some of these things, and he should have steered clear of meddling with internal political affairs of any country. Now, the era that we are talking about, we had a public discourse of sorts where the rights and powers of these big tech companies was discussed ad nauseum. I remember there was this talk about whether the platforms had more power than the sovereign laws and regulations. Twitter, in particular, and under Dorsey's leadership, had arrogated itself the right to
pay.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Now, our next story is from International Hemisphere. Now, an unprecedented moment in American history unfolded on Tuesday when former President Donald Trump surrendered before a federal courthouse in Miami to face charges under the Espionage Act for illegal possession and manhandling of classified information, including U.S. nuclear capability, sensitive communications with foreign leaders, and nuclear proficiency of an unnamed foreign country. He was taken into custody by U.S. Marshals but was released immediately after he pleaded not guilty. Now, Trump was released without having to post bond and was ordered not to talk to other witnesses as well. Shortly after the court appearance, he went straight to a Cuban restaurant and told a group of his supporters, and as I quote, "It's a rigged deal here. We have a rigged country." Remember, it was his second courtroom visit for Trump in recent months. In April, he pleaded not guilty to state charges in New York stemming from a hush money payment to an adult film star.
Former President Donald Trump sat in a courtroom Tuesday to face charges against him for the second time in a little over 2 months. He pleaded not guilty to 37 criminal charges that he unlawfully kept national security documents when he left office and lied to officials who sought to recover them. Wearing a blue suit and a red tie, Trump frowned and leaned back in his chair but did not speak during the 47-minute hearing, which was closed to cameras.
I think it's a rigged deal here. We have a rigged country. We have a country that's corrupt.
It was a contrast to later in the afternoon when Trump appeared more spirited as he met with supporters and staff at a Cuban restaurant in Miami in an unexpected stop after his arraignment. Trump was allowed to leave court without conditions or travel restrictions, and no cash bond was required. The judge in the case also ruled that he was not allowed to communicate with potential witnesses. It sets up a long legal battle as Trump, the frontrunner for the Republican presidential nomination, campaigns to win back the presidency in a November 2024 election. Experts say it could be a year or more before a trial takes place. Trump's spokesperson and lawyer, Alina Habba, called Trump defiant and the prosecution by the Justice Department politically motivated.
The people in charge of this country do not love America. They hate Donald Trump. What we are witnessing today is the blatant and unapologetic weaponization of the criminal justice system.
Trump has repeatedly proclaimed his innocence and accused Democratic President Joe Biden's administration of targeting him. He called special counsel Jack Smith, who is leading the prosecution, a Trump hater on social media on Tuesday. Smith accuses Trump of risking national secrets by taking thousands of sensitive papers with him when he left the White House in January 2021 and storing them in a haphazard manner at his Mar-a-Lago, Florida estate and his New Jersey golf club, according to a grand jury indictment released last week. Photos included in the indictment show boxes of documents stored on a ballroom stage, in a bathroom, and strewn across a storage room floor. The charges include violations of the Espionage Act, which criminalizes unauthorized possession of defense information, and conspiracy to obstruct justice, which carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. That is the maximum sentence he faces, as he would serve any sentences concurrently if convicted. Legal experts say the evidence amounts to a strong case, and Smith has said Trump will have a speedy trial. Outside the courthouse, a small crowd of Trump supporters cheered as he came and went, while others expressed their opposition to the former president and his actions. Trump's former aide Walt Nauta also faces charges in the documents case. Tuesday marked the second courtroom appearance for Trump this year. In April, he pleaded not guilty to state charges in New York stemming from a hush money payment to a porn star.
Well, for now, Donald Trump is back to New Jersey after pleading guilty in all 37 counts against him. A lot to see in that story. But for now, it's time for me to say goodbye. But don't go anywhere, as we'll come right back with more news and updates right on the other side.